Y'all, stop the clocks. This isn't a drill. This is pure, uncut courtroom catastrophe that just shut down the entire city of Dallas. Forget those little online beefs. We're talking raw, unfiltered street loyalty colliding with celebrity status, and the fallout is radioactive. The biggest news story of the year just exploded, and it happened right under the judge's nose. Twitter is in a state of absolute meltdown. The footage is grainy, the audio is muffled, but the sheer vibe of what went down is undeniable. Yella Beezy, allegedly walking into the courthouse like he owned the place, thought he was gliding through a routine legal date. He thought he was untouchable. He was dead wrong, because the other side, the Mo3 Loyalists, the keepers of the flame, the ones who embody that Dallas grit, they were waiting. And they brought the silence that is louder than any gunshot. We're talking about a highly organized, highly emotional confrontation that turned the sanctity of the court into a battleground for respect. Emotions ran so high, the security guards looked like Bambi on ice. Fans are shocked, lawyers are sweating, and everyone is asking, was this just an emotional outburst, or was this a calculated, cold-blooded setup designed to derail Beezy's entire career? The internet is claiming betrayal. Unconfirmed rumors are flying that someone close to Beezy himself opened the door for the chaos. Now look, before we dissect this whole mess and play the alleged leaked audio, which let me tell you is spicy masal, you need this one key context. Disclaimer, this story is dramatized and blends facts with fictionalized scenes purely for your entertainment. We are connecting the dots the media won't touch. We've got the full timeline, the rival rapper who allegedly pulled the strings, and the moment a key piece of jewelry, a symbol of respect, was stomped on, triggering the explosion. Here's what really happened, the moment that courtroom security system failed, and why Beezy's face went from confident to cold in 0.5 seconds. Here's the truth. We just left Yella Beezy reeling, the tension in that courtroom thick enough to chew. But to understand the full mazel, the absolute conspiracy of how this ambush went down, we have to rewind. This wasn't a random spark. This was a powder keg that had been meticulously packed and primed for ignition by forces you won't believe. The streets had been buzzing, not with excitement, but with a low, menacing hum of discontent. The core issue? Respect. For months, since the devastating loss of Mo3, the loyalty narrative in Dallas has been split down the middle. One side demands visible, consistent homage. The other side, the side Beezy represents, is trying to move forward, focus on the music, and navigate the tricky waters of fame while carrying the weight of the past. Sources say this perceived attempt to move too fast and too freely was viewed by Mo3's most dedicated loyalists as the ultimate act of disrespect. It was seen as Beezy minimizing the magnitude of their collective loss. This court date, a routine procedural hearing on an old, non-violent charge, wasn't about the law for the loyalists. It was about optics. It was about sending a loud, non-negotiable message that loyalty isn't just a hashtag you drop when an album releases. They saw this as their chance to put him on blast. The architect of chaos, Street Spitta's poison plot. But wait, who took this simmering tension and turned it into an explosive viral moment? Enter our alleged puppet master, Street Spitta, fictional. For those who don't know, Street Spitta is a mid-tier rapper whose career hit a brick wall right around the time Beezy's star shot into the stratosphere. He's been seething in the shadows, watching Beezy's success like a viper. Fans believe Spitta's jealousy morphed into a dangerous obsession. He saw this legal appearance as a golden opportunity to inflict maximum damage without getting his own hands dirty. Unconfirmed rumors started filtering through the industry grapevine, leaked by an alleged anonymous source inside Spitta's camp, that he was meticulously engineering a viral spectacle. His goal wasn't just to make Beezy look bad. It was to make him look weak, exposed, and unsupported when he needed loyalty the most. The fake leaked audio, the secret meeting. We managed to get our hands on what is allegedly a fragment of a highly muffled audio recording. It's giving setup. This recording, allegedly taken during a clandestine meeting in a dark studio parking lot late one night, reveals Spitta's wicked plan. The beat slows to a paranoid, echoing whisper. Street Spitta, voice low, laced with resentment. Look, the court date is public. They gotta be there. The family is already hot, man. They feel like he's celebrating while they're still mourning. We don't touch him. We don't throw a punch. We just give him the platform and the trigger. Henchman Hulk, gravelly voice, heavy. A trigger? They gonna need more than a look, Spitta. Beezy's got heavy security. Street Spitta. That's where the real Masal comes in. We got the inside track. Remember that loose end, that little snake on Beezy's payroll, Ray J? He's the key. Ray J feels underpaid, overlooked. He's thirsty. We give him 10 stacks, and he just needs to do one thing: pull back at the wrong moment. Create a window. That's all we need. A window for the confrontation. The emotion will do the rest. This chilling dialogue suggests a level of betrayal that cuts deeper than any street beef. It wasn't just an external enemy, it was an alleged backstabber on the inside. Street Spitta allegedly paid one of Beezy's own security team to strategically falter, to hesitate the very second the confrontation erupted. This ensures two things: one, the chaos lasts long enough for the cameras to catch it, and two, Yella Beezy feels the crushing weight of having his loyalty tested and found wanting, not by the streets, but by his own camp. The courtroom catwalk, confidence versus cold stares. Fast forward to the day of the hearing. The atmosphere outside the Dallas courthouse felt less like a legal venue and more like the entrance to a highly anticipated pay-per-view. Media trucks were lined up, security was visibly nervous. When Yella Beezy arrived, flanked by his sharp-dressed lawyer Ms. Chen and his security detail, including the alleged Judas Ray J, he exuded confidence. Maybe it was an act for the cameras, or maybe he genuinely underestimated the depth of the resentment boiling over. He flashed a quick, almost dismissive nod to the cameras. He was focused on his studio session later that afternoon. Dialogue: Beezy and Ms. Chen. Just before entering, Beezy: "This is a waste of time. Let's make this quick, Chen. My focus needs to be on the music, not old paperwork." Ms. Chen, her voice clipped, professional but wary: "Mr. Green, the law is never a waste of time. More importantly, look around. This is not a courtroom today. This is a stage, and you are the main act. The people you need to worry about aren't the prosecution. They're sitting in the back rows. They are here for a show. Stay humble, stay contained." Beezy just waved her off, but her words were prophetic. As they entered the courtroom, the air instantly changed. The normal, sterile silence of the legal room was replaced by a heavy, oppressive silence. 2 rows back, away from the typical media seating, sat the nucleus of Mo3’s loyalty. They were a wall of dark clothing, unmoving, eyes fixed on Beezy with a shared expression that was colder than ice. Disappointment mixed with unbridled rage. They didn't shout, they didn't gesture, they simply stared, and that was more terrifying than any verbal threat. It was a silent judgment from the streets he claimed to represent. The trigger moment, stomping on the symbol, the hearing began, a blur of legal jargon and procedures. Beezy was restless. About halfway through, the judge called a 10-minute recess. This was the moment the tension was designed to snap. As Beezy and his detail started to move towards the side exit, trying to avoid contact, they had to squeeze past the row where the Loyalists were sitting. This is where the brilliant, tragic masal of the setup comes in. In the manufactured chaos of passing, Beezy's expensive, custom-made chain, a small, highly sentimental pendant given to him by his cousin, snagged on the back of the chair of the key Loyalist, D-Rec, fictional, symbolizing the crew's iron fist. The chain didn't just break, it snapped violently, and the small, gold pendant clattered onto the polished marble floor. Every single head in the room swiveled. The noise of the chain hitting the marble echoed like a gunshot. Beezy instinctively looked down, but before he could even process the loss, D-Rec moved. Slowly, deliberately. He didn't turn around or acknowledge Beezy. He simply extended his foot, clad in a heavy boot, and stomped down hard on the small, sentimental gold pendant, grinding it into the floor. He lifted his foot, leaving behind a mangled, unrecognizable piece of metal. It was an act of profound, public, and strategic disrespect, not to Beezy the rapper, but to the man and his claim to family and loyalty. Dialogue: the explosive standoff. Beezy, instantly losing his cool, stepped forward, his eyes burning with fury. His guards, including the alleged conspirator Ray J, started to move to contain him. Beezy, voice choked with rage: "You madman, you got nerve, pick that up, that was a gift." D-Rec, finally turning his head, his voice a low, terrifying growl that cuts through the noise. "Pick it up? Why? It's trash now, just like the loyalty you sellin'. This court is about justice, and you walking around here smiling? No, fam. The only thing you deserve is this disrespect." The atmosphere instantly turned from tense to volatile. Beezy lunged. His bodyguard scrambled to hold him back. But guess what? According to sources familiar with the incident, Ray J, the alleged paid snake, was a millisecond slower than the others. He hesitated, creating that crucial window of exposure. He held Beezy just loosely enough to make the confrontation look real and dangerous. This lapse in security, this brief moment of vulnerability, allowed the fake leaked audio to capture the subsequent roar of D-Rec's challenge, cementing the viral tagline and the conspiracy. The intense bass drone from the previous part explodes into a frantic looping beat. The visual should feel jumpy and erratic, mimicking shaky phone camera footage. You just saw the snap. That moment when D-Rec intentionally, brutally stomped on that piece of gold. It wasn't just metal being crushed. It was the symbolic dismantling of any remaining truce. It was the streets telling Yella Beezy his success meant nothing compared to the code. His expression, y'all, it was pure, unadulterated shock morphing into volcanic fury. He was caught off guard. He wasn't prepared for the ambush to be this personal, this public, or this deep. The leaked audio that broke the internet. This is where the story goes from courtroom drama to international viral sensation, because in the immediate aftermath of that stomp, as Beezy lunged and his loyal security, save for the alleged backstabber Ray J, moved to contain him, a nearby courtroom mic that should have been off, allegedly part of the street Spitta setup, captured the whole thing. It wasn't the sound of fists, it was the sound of ideology clashing. The sound effect of the leaked audio should be grainy and slightly distorted, focusing only on the menacing voice of D-Rec and the panicked voices around him. D-Rec, loud, sharp, voice dripping with cold conviction. You think this is over? You think a suit and a tie wipes the slate clean? We see you, the streets never forget. You come in here flashing wealth when our brother is underground. Loyalty isn't a lyric, it's a bloodline. You forgot the blood, Beezy, you forgot the blood. That line, y'all. Loyalty isn't a lyric, it's a bloodline. That phrase immediately went viral. It was instantly screenshotted, memed, and tweeted thousands of times. It encapsulated the entire generational feud, the old code versus the new fame. The Mo3 crew didn't need to lay a hand on him. Those words were a 1,000-pound anvil dropped directly onto Beezy's reputation. The chaos lasted less than a minute. Security finally managed to physically push Beezy back toward the judge's chambers. Allegedly, during this scramble, Ray J was seen by a fictional witness who later spoke to unconfirmed rumors, making a quick, almost imperceptible hand signal towards D-Rec, a tiny sign that said, "Mission accomplished." This detail is the smoking gun that keeps the conspiracy alive. It's giving Judas. It's giving setup by one of his own, the escape, and the snake in the grass. The judge, furious and visibly shaking from the unprecedented disruption, called an emergency recess and ordered the immediate clearance of the courtroom. Yella Beezy wasn't escorted out through the main doors. He was practically rushed out through a back maintenance corridor, his image of calm power completely shattered. In the small, dimly lit back corridor, his attorney, Ms. Chen, absolutely erupted, not at the court, but at her client and his team. Dialogue, Ms. Chen's fury, Ms. Chen hissing, low enough not to be heard by the remaining court staff. Are you kidding me, Mr. Green? You couldn't hold it together for 5 minutes? We just gave the prosecution everything they need. They have emotional evidence now. And you, Ray J, why were you lagging? You were supposed to be front and center. Ray J, feigning shock, looking Beezy straight in the eye. Ms. Chen, I was trying to de-escalate, ma'am. They came at us from two sides. It was too quick. I was protecting Mr. Green, I swear. That was pure hate, man. It was just pure hate. Beezy, still breathing hard, didn't look at his lawyer. He didn't look at Ray J. He looked down at his hand, where the chain should have been. The realization hit him, allegedly, not just that he'd been publicly humiliated, but that the security around him, his shield, had been compromised. The loyalty was truly gone. He realized the real war wasn't in the court, it was internal. The media feeding frenzy, loyalty under fire. As Yella Beezy sped away from the courthouse, the internet had already done its job. The leaked audio clip, the blurry photos, the sensational tweets. It was an ecosystem of masal spinning out of control. The reaction on social media was an absolute spectacle. Loyalty as a bloodline trended globally within an hour. Tweet A, pro-loyalist. Finally, someone had the courage to tell the truth to his face. You can't rap about the streets, then disrespect the fallen. That stomp was for Mo3. Tweet B, pro-Beezy, conspiracy. It's giving setup. They ambushed him on his legal day. Y'all really think that was random? Nah, a rival rapper paid them goons to be there. It's a straight up marketing assassination. Tweet C, the smoking gun theory. Look closely at the 12-second clip. The guard in the back, Ray J, he flinches late. He's the weak link. Street Spitta got to him. I'm telling you, this is backstabbing at the highest level. The media, the national hip-hop blogs, and the local sensationalists jumped on the division. They started running fictional exclusive reports based on these unconfirmed rumors. One blog, known for its viral exaggeration, ran the headline, "Beezy's own guard paid 10 stacks to let the chaos reign." This wasn't just drama, this was a career-defining media frenzy that painted Beezy as the ultimate victim of a deep-seated conspiracy and a spectacular act of betrayal. The street reaction was the most potent. OGs and respected figures started posting cryptic videos. They spoke not of the court case, but of the symbol, the stomped chain. They claimed that in their world, destroying that symbol was an irreversible statement. It's giving irreversible damage. Beezy's credibility, his claim to the throne in Dallas, was now actively being challenged by those who held the code sacred. The fallout was instant, massive, and exactly what Street Spitta allegedly paid for. Yella Beezy didn't just lose his cool, he lost control of the narrative. And in the rap game, losing the narrative is like losing your oxygen mask. The streets were calling him weak, and the fact that he was allegedly betrayed by his own security detail only compounded the humiliation. This was far from over. This was just the violent opening act of a drama that would shake the foundations of Dallas hip-hop. And the next twist is the most sinister yet. The music is now a frantic, high-energy mix of drill beats and a rapid-fire synth loop, giving that chaotic, immediate crisis energy. The visuals should be a continuous stream of fictional news tickers and dramatically zoomed-in, blurred photos from the incident. The immediate explosion inside the courthouse was only the beginning, y'all. That moment D-Rec put his boot on that gold pendant and dropped the line, "Loyalty isn't a lyric, it's a bloodline." That wasn't just a threat, that was a declaration of war on the narrative Yella Beezy had been carefully building. He was exposed as vulnerable, not by his enemies from the outside, but by the alleged serpent coiled right inside his security circle, Ray J. The backstabbing confession, Ray J's double life. The next crucial layer of this spicy Masal plot revolves around what happened hours after the courtroom chaos. Unconfirmed rumors and allegedly leaked text messages, which we of course have dramatically reconstructed for this highly sensational report, suggest that Street Spitta, the master manipulator, reached out to Ray J, the compromised security guard, to pay him his final 10-stack bonus for successfully creating the chaos window. Fictional leaked text message exchange, reconstructed for drama. Screen graphic overlay shows a fake text chain with timestamps hours after the incident. Street Spitta, contact, name, The Connect, 4:15 p.m. Did the job get done? The footage is fire. You got that window, fam. That was gold. Ray J, contact name, on payroll, 14:17 p.m. Yeah. I did my part. The boss is rattled. His lawyer is hot. My hands are clean. Send the final wire. Cash at me and watch the news. Street Spitta, contact name, The Connect, 4:20 p.m. Done. 10 racks sent. Now here's the bonus tip. Disappear for a week. Tell Beezy you got threats. Make it look like you're the victim. Keep the smoke off my name. Stay loyal to the payout, not the crew. This alleged conversation confirms the full scale of the betrayal. Ray J wasn't just slow, he was a hired agent, actively undermining the man whose life he was paid to protect. This wasn't just about beef, this was about weaponizing greed to destroy a rival's credibility. It's giving sabotage. The whole plot was designed to make Beezy not just scared, but deeply paranoid about everyone around him. The emergency meeting, paranoia sets. In the real drama shifts to Yella Beezy's heavily secured undisclosed compound later that night. Beezy, his face strained and his movements jerky, is pacing a luxurious living room. He's surrounded by his remaining fiercely loyal inner circle, excluding Ray J, who, true to the alleged script, has conveniently gone silent, claiming to be shaken up and receiving threats. Dialogue, the confrontation of trust. Beezy, voice tight with suppressed anger. He stomped on my cousin's chain, in front of the judge, in front of the cameras. We look weak. We look like we got no muscle left. Lawyer Ms. Chen, coldly practical. You look like you lost control, Mr. Green. That's worse. And why did Ray J vanish? He was the first one I called out. He's citing threats? That sounds like someone covering his tracks. Beezy's manager tone. Fictional, loyal, but nervous. Ray J's been acting funny for weeks, asking about advances, talking about wanting a bigger cut. I dismissed it. I shouldn't have. But who got to him? We all know that confrontation was set up. Who stands to gain the most from you looking compromised? Beezy, slamming his fist on the table. Spitta, that little weasel, Street Spitta, he's been quiet too long. He's thirsty for my spot. He can't beat me with music, so he's trying to beat me with chaos. He used D-Rex's loyalty to Mo3 as a shield for his own jealous plot. That's the ultimate coward move. This scene is pivotal. It confirms the team's suspicion of a rival plot, but more devastatingly, it reveals the realization that the betrayal came from within. And the loyalty was tested, and a security hole was found and exploited for maximum viral impact. Unconfirmed rumors suggest that Beezy immediately ordered a full sweep of his staff and communications, realizing that his privacy, his strategic moves, and his safety were all compromised. The public rant, Street Spitta feeds the beast. Meanwhile, Street Spitta, allegedly sitting comfortably in a dark room watching the world burn, drops a calculated, venomous social media post that further fuels the fire. He doesn't mention Beezy or Mo3, but the message is clear. Fictional social media post. Some people confuse a suit and tie with power. Real power is earned with respect, not lawyers. When you walk around acting like the streets forgot the code always reminds you. Dallas knows what time it is. I'll beat you. Real, recognize, realize the truth. This cryptic rant is all the evidence the public needs. The comment section explodes, partially with real fans, partially with bots allegedly paid by Spitta, all driving the narrative. Beezy is fake. Spitta is real. Beezy deserved the humiliation. The media picks this up, framing it as a philosophical clash. Fame versus the code. It's giving classic backstabbing drama, played out on the biggest stage. The twist, D-Rex's loyalty tested. But the masal gets even spicier. The plot thickens as unconfirmed sources close to the Mo3 family start whispering that D-Rex, the man who stomped the chain, is now feeling used. He realized that his raw emotional act of loyalty was allegedly co-opted by Street Spitta, the man Beezy's team is now blaming. Allegedly, D-Rex's entire motivation was pure, genuine, raw grief and loyalty to Mo3. He hates the idea that his sacred act was leveraged for the professional gain of a rapper he allegedly doesn't even respect. Street Spitta. Sources say D-Rex is now facing an internal moral crisis. Did he deliver justice for Mo3? Or did he become a pawn in a rival rapper's jealous game? This sets the stage for a dramatic shift in the conflict. The Mo3 loyalists might pivot their focus from Beezy to the alleged manipulator, Street Spitta. This entire sequence, the betrayal, the leaked texts, the public rant, and the internal crisis of the Loyalists was designed to do one thing: push Beezy to the edge, force him into a reactive posture, and forever taint his public image as someone who can't even trust his own shadow. The streets are on fire, and the smoke is choking out Beezy's career. The next step is a calculated counter move, and it's going to shock everyone. The electronic scream fades into a deep, sustained sub-bass pulse, like a ticking bomb. The narrator's voice is conspiratorial, low, and urgent. The air in Dallas is now thicker than a concrete block, y'all. We're beyond simple beef. We're in the deep end of a psychological warfare designed to take down a massive career. Yella Beezy is sitting in his compound, allegedly realizing that the ultimate threat wasn't the law, it was the snake he was paying to protect him. The betrayal of Ray J, exposed by those unconfirmed leaked texts that are burning up the dark corners of the internet, is the stuff of pure viral infamy. It's giving Shakespearean treachery, but with customized gold chains and court transcripts. The calculated counterstrike, Mrs. Chen's master plan. But you think Beezy's team is just gonna sit back and watch Street Spitta and the Loyalists feast on his reputation? Nah. That's where the sharp-tongued, no-nonsense lawyer, Ms. Chen, steps in with a legal move so slick, it's going to shock the entire industry. This is the calculated counterstrike, the ultimate chess move to reclaim the narrative. Sources say Ms. Chen didn't waste a minute. Her immediate target, not the Mo3 crew. They are too popular, too emotionally protected by the public narrative of grief. Her target is the traitor and the puppet master. The dramatic press conference. Ms. Chen calls a press conference not with the local news, but with the specific hip-hop blogs and viral channels that specialize in drama, like us, y'all. She uses the emotional language of the streets. something she's never done before. Dialogue. Ms. Chen's viral address. Ms. Chen, standing sternly, but her voice resonating with forced emotion. The court suffered an unprecedented coordinated attack on the legal process. This was not a moment of spontaneous grief. This was an orchestrated campaign of character assassination paid for by a jealous rival. We have evidence, which we are turning over to law enforcement right now, proving that an individual who was supposed to protect Mr. Green was bribed to create that window of chaos. Let me be clear, Mr. Green was victimized twice, once by a vicious smear campaign, and second by a man he paid to ensure his safety. Loyalty was tested and greed betrayed it. She then delivers the knockout punch, a fictional legal threat that makes this story Maisel, Ms. Chen. And to the alleged individual responsible for hiring this snake, the man who hides behind the grief of a community, Street Spitta, know this: we are filing a massive civil suit for defamation, emotional distress, and racketeering. You used a tragedy to fuel your jealousy. You put my client's life at risk. We are coming for your chain, your studio, and every dime you've ever made. The streets might play games with the code, but the law does not forget treason. The internal rift, D-Rex disillusionment. This highly public aggressive counterattack has the immediate effect of forcing Street Spitta into hiding, deleting his cryptic tweets, and making his team panic. But the most important reaction comes from the Loyalists, D-Rec. Unconfirmed sources say D-Rec and the Mo3 inner circle are now holding a tense, secret meeting in a neutral location. D-Rec, who saw his act of stomping the chain as a sacred defense of his fallen friend's honor, is now allegedly furious that his pure anger was just a pawn in Street Spitta's petty rap beef. Dialogue. The Loyalists' tense backroom talk. D-Rec, voice heavy with realization. He used us. Spitta used us. He let us think we were fighting for the family, but he was just clearing his own path. That stomp. It was about Mo3. But now, all the headlines are about Beezy's betrayal and Spitta's courage. It's giving exploitation. Mo3's cousin, G-Flow, fictional pragmatic. The enemy of my enemy is not always my friend. D, we got played. We gave Spitta the viral moment, and he didn't even drop a dime to the family. Now Beezy's lawyer is making him look like the victim of a jealous plot, and that makes us look like the hired thugs. This is the ultimate twist, y'all. The two opposing forces, Beezy and the Mo3 crew, now have a shared enemy, the orchestrator, Street Spitta. The initial raw conflict over loyalty is slowly turning into a complicated, high-stakes fight against a mutual betrayer. The public sacrifice, Ray J's downfall. The pressure mounts on the alleged traitor, Ray J, with Ms. Chen filing legal motions and the streets turning on anyone associated with the setup. Ray J's alleged 10-stack payment suddenly looks microscopic. He realizes he can't hide forever. Allegedly, Ray J attempts to flee the city but is intercepted. Unconfirmed police reports, totally fabricated for this narrative, state he was detained and, under pressure, started to sing. He didn't just confirm the payout, he gave an over-the-top, tearful confession that he was weak, that he felt overlooked, and that Street Spitta exploited his vulnerability. This confession is immediately leaked to the viral blogs. The narrative shifts for the final time. Yella Beezy is now the true victim of a jealous plot, and the Mo3 Loyalists, D-Rec included, are seen as emotionally manipulated, not malicious conspirators. It's giving redemption arc. The media frenzy shifts from "what did Beezy do?" to "how low will rivals sink?" The image of Beezy, who was already walking a thin legal line, is suddenly purified in the flames of another man's greed. This was the ultimate viral-worthy twist that the audience craved. The exposed backstabber, the jealous rival, and the redeemed victim. But this shift in focus has a dangerous, unforeseen consequence. Street Spitta, now cornered and facing a massive lawsuit and public ruin, is about to make a desperate move that brings the chaos right back to the courtroom, hotter and spicier than ever before. The chaotic drill beat from the previous part slams back in, then fades slightly to allow the narrator to speak, maintaining high energy. Y'all, take a deep breath. We just witnessed a full-scale emotional, legal, and spiritual war played out on the global stage. From the moment that gold chain was savagely stomped in the courtroom to the exposure of the Snake Ray J and the alleged puppet master Street Spitta, this entire saga has been one massive lesson. Fame is temporary, but the code is eternal. Yella Beezy, who walked in looking like the defendant, is now emerging as the ultimate victim of a calculated, jealous conspiracy. He's cleaned house. The traitor is exposed, and his lawyer, Ms. Chen, has put the fear of God and the law into his rival. But don't get it twisted. Just because the focus shifted to Street Spitta's treason doesn't mean the original debt is paid. Remember D-Rec and the Loyalists. They might hate being used by Spitta, but their grief is still raw, their resolve is still iron, and the original message that Beezy owes respect has not been erased. This whole legal battle might save Beezy from a lawsuit, but it won't save him from the silent, powerful judgment of the streets. The question now isn't who set him up, but what happens next when true loyalty and justice demand a final accounting. This story is far from over. We've got unconfirmed rumors that Street Spitta is so cornered, he's planning a desperate, final, highly dangerous move to disrupt Beezy's next major concert. It's giving ultimate payback, and it's going to be live. So we ask you, the loyal followers who keep the Masal alive, do you think Beezy truly deserves this redemption arc? Or was the original confrontation by Mo3’s crew justified because he moved too fast? Was this chaos entirely staged? Or did real emotion simply get weaponized? And who is going to be the next snake to show their face? We need to know your hottest theory. Smash that like button until your screen cracks. Subscribe right now for part 2 and the live footage of the concert threat, and drop your spiciest, wildest conspiracy theory in the comments below. Let the chaos continue. Peace!